So, I didn't find the diamond approach. The diamond approach found me. It's as simple as that. My name is John Harper. I live in Folsom, California, and I've been a student of the diamond approach for over 30 years. And I've been a teacher in the diamond approach for 7 years, 8 years, something like that. And mainly I just work with private students. Because I was visiting a friend in Denver, and we were going to a very popular bookstore that had moved locations. It was in an old house, and I was walking from room to room, and above one of the doorways was a book that just, it just like had a halo around it, just lit up, and I just had to have that book. And it was Diamond Approach, Diamond Heart Book 1, Elements of the Real in Man. And so I purchased that book, and that guy Almas was just speaking words that he was talking and articulating things that I was trying to articulate in myself. So I read the books for a couple of years, and then interestingly, I was working my way through the Pearl Beyond Price when I had a pretty phenomenal experience, and I woke up the next day and wrote a letter to the office wanting to know how to get involved in that. I was living in Seattle at the time. But what's interesting about that really is that I left my previous path because I wanted to become a real human being. And I was reading the books for 2 years, but it was the Pearl Beyond Price I was reading, which is about becoming a real human being, when I had that experience. And it's actually probably the Pearl work that has done more to change me as a person than anything else in this work. And the first real meeting I went to, the teacher asked, does anybody want to work? And this other fella let out a blood-curdling scream and just shocked the hell out of me. I didn't know what was going on. I'd never been in anything like that. And so that was challenging, is the psychodynamic work, the depth of it, and the fact that I couldn't contact any place in myself to work. I was so armored up for so many years. I'd been disconnected from my feelings so long, although I had reconnected with them before I got into work. But it took like 18 months, 2 years before I could really land in some place in myself to work. And I got there by just sitting in those groups and watching my friends work. And little by little, empathy started opening up in me for the places they were reaching in themselves. And then that kind of brought me to the point where I could engage the psychodynamic work in this path. First of all, I've been on the spiritual path since I was 19, because I had a primary awakening experience of essence, which I didn't understand at the time. But I got on this other path called Ekankar and I was on it for 13 years. And I was having all kinds of really incredible spiritual experiences, but I wasn't changing. And eventually I just got to the point of seeing that you can consume experience, by the truckload, and it won't necessarily change you. As a matter of fact, it's one of the great truths I've come to in myself, is that we can't change. We can't change ourselves, but we can be changed. And that's what's been going on this path for me, is that the places that I get into, the work that we do, changes me. I wouldn't have a clue where to go to change myself, what to do. I wish that people could really experience the preciousness of what they are. It's very difficult to tolerate that experience because it challenges so many of the beliefs we have about ourselves. And those beliefs keep us being in the world in a way that is, we keep carrying this history of pain and suffering and deficiency. And to actually experience the preciousness of our nature, it can be quite overwhelming. But then it comes back to that point that I was making. That lands you in a place where you can be changed. We can't go out there and say, oh, I want to change this and go to work on it, because the very thing that is going to engage that and come up with the idea of what needs to be done, that's the thing that needs to change. It can't change itself. You know, all it can do is get a different haircut or change clothes or put a different coat of paint on it. But if you touch into something like your preciousness, that will put you in a place where you are open and vulnerable to the forces of what's real in you to have their way with you. And that's very interesting. It's challenging at times, but you never know who you are or where you're going to wind up when the universe gets a hold of you.